Good morning. It is Thursday, June 6th, 2024, back here for Daily Shakeup number 905. And today I want to deal with, I know I talked about this probably years ago, but I want to talk again about one of the biggest gaps in so-called networking, business development, meeting people, talking to people. And it is the fact that we are constantly being asked and asking others the worst possible question. And it is the number one question asked at networking events by eons and by thousands of percentages. The question you, of course, know is, what do you do? And so many of us struggle with that question. And we go, oh man, I don't know how to answer that question. I got to come up with a 30-second commercial or an 8-second elevator pitch. And I've got to be ready and I've got to hone it and come up with these fancy words. And most of them, frankly, suck because they're made up. They're not natural. They're designed to answer a horrible question. So here's the thing. Get rid of the question. That's the number one thing today. Never ask anyone else what they do. And if someone else asks you what you do, because they will, reframe their question. I'll give you that right at the end. We could spend some time on this, but I just want to get some nuggets. First of all, that question gone. Why is it a dumb question? Because it's simple, and simple is not a good question. It's lazy, and frankly, none of us care what someone does. We want one of two things, and this determines what kind of networker we are. We either want to have some sense of who they are, and what they do is not the answer to that at all. Or we want to know if they're a prospect. Now, if you're trying to figure out if they're a prospect for you, now you're being transactional, you're not being relational. And frankly, in most cases, people are going to experience you as being icky. So you want to do that? Fine. But we're not here to prospect. We're here to connect, build relationship, and then explore where we can help each other in whatever the next iteration is. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time if we build that good initial connection. So here's one simple shift. I don't ask people what they do. Question I ask often is this. So what are you up to in the world? Now, admittedly, some people talk about work. A lot of people talk about what's going on in their lives, which allows me to what? Start to get to know who they are, to find our common ground, to find those places for connection. Another question I love is, and I borrowed this from my dear friend David Akers years ago, what's your story? A lot of people say, what do you mean? What story? Which story? I said, whichever one you want to tell me. And they typically tell me a story about their life. And see, the reality is it's the stories that connect us, not our information that connect us. I could go on and on. I'm going to end it there, but just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop asking people what they do. And when they ask you what you do, answer one of these other questions to them. Tell them about what you're up to in the world. Tell them what you care about. Tell them a story. We don't care what each other does. We haven't for a long time. That's why we struggle answering the stupid question. And for all you folks out there teaching people 30-second commercials, you're going to hate on me. But I really want you to think about it because we're going down the wrong road. It's time to change lanes and highways to get to better connections, better relationships, and thereby build our businesses and our lives in a richer way.